So you're about ready to leave your job.
I'm quitting today.
Perfect. I'm glad we saved this episode for today then.
Yeah.
Instead of
No.
Wednesday. How's that feel? You look already different. Maybe it was Mexico. Maybe it's because you're leaving your job.
Oh man. My energy is probably a little different. How do I feel? Was that the question?
Yeah. What's running through that nervous
It's
system
been
right now?
it's quite been different emotions, like a mix of I made the decision and I shared it on here back in I feel like March or April, something like that. I'd set some just concrete goals, like this is when I'll leave, and we hit that. And so this week has been just like, okay, how am I going to do it? Because over the last month or two, I've known it's been getting closer and closer. I've been working with my coach on what does it mean to leave with integrity? What does it mean to attempt to leave with them being potentially better off than before? And just checking those boxes off. So like the email that I drafted, I've shared it around. Like,
Wait, so are you you're leaving today? Have you let them know at
today
all?
I'll submit my letter of resignation.
Okay.
And it's like quite direct and candid in why I'm leaving. Like, these are the 3 reasons that I'm leaving.
What are the 3 reasons?
It doesn't align with my goals financially. It doesn't align with I'm not in my superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't align with my core values.
Mm.
And I give some examples as to what specifically for each of those, and then I give a couple points of feedback at the end.
How do you think they're going to take it?
I've decided that's none of my business.
True.
Yeah.
You can still be curious.
I don't know. I think probably, so the game plan is like, I'll go in, I'm going to do the full day, and at the end of the day, I'll just schedule it to hit the CEO's inbox, and I'll go in to his office and be like, hey, I just sent you an email. I need you to read it. I'll sit there and be available to talk it out. And he'll probably be stunned.
Yeah.
And be going through those emotions. And, I don't know how that's going to be. So it'll probably be pretty fucking awkward and uncomfortable. But my hope is that I took the time to write that email with the thought that should he decide to take it constructively, it's something that he can revisit over the years. And that's the best I can do. So, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
Once this is done, like the awkward part is,
I imagine
it's almost like a breakup, especially when you're like,
I don't know if I've ever had to resign from a position in my life.
Yeah, the last time I did it didn't go well.
No. Well, that was a pretty toxic environment, wasn't it?
I haven't talked to that guy at all.
Yeah.
Still friendly with all the employees there, but
yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. It's whatever. I mean, I am going to probably miss working there for a variety of reasons. I was telling Heather this last night. It's like a lot of people stay in relationships longer than they should because there are good parts of it.
Right.
Right. And then once you get to that moment where you're like, I got to leave. And then you say, but this and this and this, like these things are good. And it's like, no, net. Mm-hmm. Is this a net positive or a net negative for you? Like, is this making you a better person?
Casey just put out a little short form content on that of weighing. You're never going to get everything you want in a relationship. So are the things that you absolutely need the kind of deal breakers in a way? Are they outweighing the good things?
Getting to the self-awareness to even know what your deal breakers is, I think the journey, right?
Right.
I bet.
Which is probably really interesting in a job, because I imagine in a job it's almost tougher because there is the financial component. I don't know. Maybe it's just as tough in a relationship. I don't know. I feel like a job you could potentially try to hold on to maybe longer.
People do it all. People do it for their whole lives.
I know. I know.
The money keeps you there for sure. And I'm just
like,
that. I mean, it's not like this decision was made in haste. I laid out a plan to exit. And I even, not only financial plan, but I set standards for which I would leave, right? Like I would leave them in a certain condition to the best of my ability. And
do you feel like you're leaving them better than when you started?
When I started, oh my God, yeah, dude, fucking millions of dollars better.
All right.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And you know, many team members better, and so it's good. It was a good ride. I think about like my time there, and I was like, yeah, I contributed as best as I could, and that's the most that I can ask for, is making the most out of my time. So, but I was like, when I do the math on the opportunity that I'm leaving for, just there's nothing they could offer me, and that makes it very simple for me. So, yeah, it's a good deal. What about you? You said you have a big thing next week.
Oh, my trip.
Didn't you say? I don't know. Didn't you say?
Well, basically, the product is essentially launching next week. We're starting to put out content. We've been filming a bunch. I can finally talk about it, so that's nice.
So, what's the product? You're gonna brand it the product.
Yeah, the product. We are releasing some mic stands, and we're starting with some desktop mic stands, partially because we wanted to progress to, so we're starting with desktop mic stands, then boom arms, and then these sort of like standing ones next to the chair. And that's like happening now, and it's been a year.
And so what are you going to do? Publish it organically?
Yeah, we're just going to start sharing the story, publish it organically, just start getting pictures out. We finally have some templates in mind for the ads. It's, you know, like I knew this coming from the content creation world, but I just didn't know what it was going to feel like when it came to my product. But really finding the energy and vibe that we want these like little clips and ads and everything, like what's the feel of, like, I know what I want it to feel like when it's in my hand, but it's almost hard to like decide what I want it to look like in a short form piece of content, which I thought that was going to come much easier to me. But we've sort of had to like sift through things, find inspiration, you know, all the things. Kind of film some stuff that, you know, you look at and then you're like, oh, I don't like that. That's not going to work for the brand. You know, that's also the weird thing too. It's like in my mind, I think like, oh, this could work. And then the second you see it in video form or in like a horizontal or a vertical, I'm like, oh, that doesn't really work with the brand. So, you know, getting through all of that, the growing pains of that a little bit.
Of the brand feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're also, it's a delicate line of, we want to sort of cast a big net of the demographic we potentially want to reach, and that could be narrowed down. But I don't want to pigeonhole myself into a corner of like, oh, we're only catering to this demographic and potentially losing out on something because we didn't think about this other demographic. So kind of figuring out a way to cast that big net, but not feel too like random, still have a feel to the brand in the beginning, and then pivot as we need to along the way.
So you don't want to have a preconceived notion of who's going to buy this.
Exactly.
It's fair.
Like, I understand if somebody's like, oh, you need to know your client right out of the gate, but I'm like, yes and no, because it's kind of a product that there's a wide variety of people it could reach. I don't know who's going to necessarily want it. So, which is good because Bobby's kind of keeping me in check and I'm keeping him in check because I'm going the more like natural color, beauty, feminine way, slightly lighter, brighter. And he's veering more towards darker content creator, colorful, like, hey, let's make sure we reach these guys too, just to see what hits. So it's good that we both have that input coming from both sides. Yeah.
You'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out pretty fast. So that's the good thing. And it's not costing us a lot of money to do it this way. So why not?
Will it be available to purchase or wait list or?
It's going to be a wait list and pre-order, because we're kind of collecting data on those colors as well. Like, do we want 5 colors? Is it going to be narrowed down to maybe 2? Could it expand to 8? I don't know. I think the wheelhouse is going to be like 5 colors to start, and then it may or may not expand out from there. And we're not doing black to start, because I don't want more black. That's how this whole idea came to me. Was I was so tired of fucking black mic stands. Everything is black just because the microphone is black. And then you have this big black eyesore in the video because now everything's getting filmed. This is, and especially for women, this is why I went the more feminine route. I'm like, this thing is ugly in front of them. Like, these things should be a piece of art now, considering they're on camera all the time. So it's time to bring something a little more beautiful to this environment. Like people's set designs and their desks and their offices are so fucking meticulous now. And then you just plop this black thing right down in front of your face, and it's like the wires hanging off weird. There's no good wire management. It's got like, the desk ones are either round and boring or like this big brick thing. It's just so masculine, so old school gamer. Nothing has evolved or changed for the 40 years they've been around or whatever it is. And I'm like, I'm done with that. So I set out to just create my own.
Yeah. I mean, it's a perfect founder product fit.
Yeah.
It's very, it's a very specific frustration that you
have dealt with for
had to
2-3 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once you point it out, it's like, yeah, why do they all look like this? Nobody's.
You go search them, and it's just like, it's all basically one generic sort of lane that they're in.
So we'll find out if your frustration is shared by others.
Yeah, or maybe I'm just fucking loony, and I only look at it and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So especially now too, because people are putting, the mic flags and mic boxes on the mics. So it's like, you're already adding color. Like, why can't the mic stand be more representative of your creative vibe, nature, energy? Like, and now, sure, I don't want it to be like insanely contrasting, like a bright yellow one. Like, well, maybe, who knows? Maybe somebody wants a bright yellow one. But trying to keep with the natural, organic nature colors, and, maybe it's potentially a couple bright ones to see if that's what people want. But I don't believe that just because the mic is black, that the accessory holding the mic has to be black. Now, if that's the look and feel of your environment, sure. But why can't there be colors?
Yeah. Who does Bobby think is going to be interested in it?
I don't think he really is leaning towards anybody specific, but he definitely is like, that's why we did the bright Hermes orange color. Because it's like, let's just see if there's people that want something bright and loud and bold.
Yeah, it's loud.
Yeah. Whereas me, I'm like, me, I'm like, give me that soft beauty, natural color. Yeah. Give me those apple colors.
The idea originated through women.
Yeah, because I was setting up a bunch of mic stands here in front of women, and I'm just like, this is too masculine. It's too black. It's annoying.
It's interesting.
And like I said, it should be, if everything in this set and people's environments, people are so, again, meticulous about, and they're on film and it's like set so perfectly, like, why can't this thing look more like art?
Yeah, it's the final detail nobody's paying attention to.
Exactly. Like, it's just an afterthought. Like, oh, let's plop this thing down in because it's just,
you have to.
Yeah, it's the technical component. We have to put the microphone in there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. When does it drop?
I mean, pretty much next week. That's the other thing. Like, I'm trying to remain incredibly grateful that my consultation business and the studio has like ramped up dramatically since needing to start creating content for the mic stand. So my schedule has been insane.
How did it just start to ramp up?
It just did. It just happened.
It just
happened.
Interesting.
Well, the Vegas client signed me on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, taking up a little extra time. Couple more retainer clients in here, just things got a little busier in general. And then I'm trying to like still kind of get stuff passed off to the VA, but then she's also kind of learning new things now. So I'm having to be a little more involved still. Like, you know how that goes. Like, she's got all the stuff that I taught her 2 months ago solid down. I don't have to worry about those things. But now I'm like, oh, I need you to start taking care of these other things now because I'm getting busier with needing to do the launch for the product and all that stuff. So
is she full time for you?
She's part time. I'm like right on the verge of getting her full time. I think it's going to happen at the new year, which will be great.
Does she help with Casey at all?
No, we were going to try to start doing that, but I just have too much going on right now. I think once she gets to full time, I could probably start putting a little bit of Casey's stuff on her plate. And that just might be sharing a folder of her short form and let her handle posting it to like TikTok and things like that. But she can't. The other problem is Casey and I have missed like almost a month on YouTube because things have just been crazy. We have a couple filmed, but I need to get editing those. And still, I'm the only one that can edit those because of what the content is.
What do you
Things
mean?
are just busy.
What do you mean because of what the content is?
It's because of what her dialogue is. Like, I can't afford, say, the $500 or $1,000 YouTube editor right now, who probably would understand that and is American. But knowing where to do the cuts, when to do the text on the screen and things like that, like, it's just really hard with a cheaper editor. They just don't know. They don't understand.
Yeah, it's a high level of involvement.
It's a high level of involvement. And then I was just trading off a cheaper editor for more of my time spent in revisions. And then I'm like, this is stupid. I should just go back to editing it because I can do it faster. So,
right.
But now it's like, that's tricky because I'm running out of time every day. I need like 5 more hours in every day. A lot going on.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked for this Vegas client though. It's going to be fun. I'm just basically quality control on their podcast.
Yeah, tell me about that again. So you're just overseeing.
I'm just overseeing it. Eventually, I think what it's going to be is I will be the liaison between the client and their team, where they don't even want to have to be involved. Basically, they just sit down and record the podcast, and then we get to a place where they trust everybody's judgment on what short form pieces to pick, what they look like, how the podcast is edited, what they do or don't cut out of the podcast. If there's stuff in there that they're like, maybe we could cut that out. So a big part of that is me just getting to know them more, getting to know what they want it to look and feel like, and then me just essentially running it, which will be cool.
Has it started yet, or?
Yeah, they've gotten a few in the bank, but the actual release is the 26th of November.
Of the episode?
Of the podcast, yeah. They're going to have about 6 to 8 in the bank because I told them, of course, like, try to have some in the bank before you get started.
Cool.
Yeah.
So when are you going to Sedona?
That's the weekend of the 14th. So 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks from yesterday.
For how long?
3 nights, just the weekend.
Casey's going to hold it down at the house?
Yeah. Well, she'll have grandma helping. Okay. May will be there on Friday. It's actually it's crazier because while they're getting older and more energy and want to do more, it's getting easier to single parent them because Bunny's more self-sufficient. Baby girl and her play together, so you get little breaks. I trust, say if we're just at the house, I kind of like trust them out front by themselves for the most part, not for like an hour or something, but 15, 20 minutes here or there. They can kind of be out there. The neighbor kids are out there maybe playing with them. So watching them both is like pretty easy. And even like getting them down to bed now, both of them at night is pretty easy. I mean, you're for sure exhausted by the end of the night, but it's not exhaustion in the sense of one of them being incredibly needy like all day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The small things they can.
Yeah, it's just small things here or there. And truthfully, it's like, you've probably heard this before, they are kind of better with just one parent in a way sometimes, because Bunny kind of knows like, oh, this parent's on their own. Now,
really?
There can be moments of still wild craziness.
For sure.
But, and even like say traveling in the car now with both of them, like our kids did not, but both of them at young ages did not like car seats. And so basically for the first 3 years, the first 2 years of Bunny's life, and then the first year of baby girl's life, car rides were not great all the time. Let's just say that. So now that's like easy. So being able to like take them places, baby girl's potty trained now. So a lot of that like stuff is done.
That happened like last month, right?
Yeah. She's
good.
She's good to go.
You're done.
Yeah. Great. I keep telling Casey it was so anticlimactic, like not having diapers now. I'm like, oh, I guess we can throw away that diaper pail. Haven't used that in a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't even wear them at night. The school now puts her in one. We've had this like battle back and forth with the school a little bit because they're like, oh, we're not potty training your class until January when all the numbers and the toilet and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but she doesn't need training. She already knows how to go. Like, just take her to the bathroom and she'll go, and tell her to tell you when she has to poop or pee.
And they don't want to take her to the bathroom, or?
Yeah, they don't have the toilet seat for her. They don't. I think it's a thing. I think they're thinking like when you're trying to train a whole class, it's like you kind of want to take, I guess, like 4 or 5 of them in there, let everybody see this and that. I'm like, well, guess what? You have one that's already potty trained. Why don't you just let them all see that one right now?
So funny.
Like
the fucking cattle system begins that early.
Yeah.
Just out of sheer efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
Which I'm trying to have compassion of, like, you guys are watching my kids. I get it. You got to do whatever
so they want her to go in her diaper at school, even though the rest of the day she doesn't.
Yeah.
That's got to be confusing for her.
You would think, but she's so smart that I think she only goes like pee once in her diaper. It's because she goes pee before she goes. And then I think she goes maybe once in her diaper at school, and she won't go poop because I picked her up one day and she immediately was like, poop. I literally took her to the bathroom at the school at the end of the day, picking her up. I'm like, why can't you guys do this? She literally just told me.
If she's like, I don't want to poop in my diaper anymore, so I got to hold it at school.
I mean, if she starts to get constipated or something, then yeah, I'll say something. But
yeah.
I'm trying to walk the line and not be a.
So it's what, 2 more months?
Yeah, it's like 2 more months. There's going to be holidays off and whatever. I told Casey wrote another email.
It's actually like 1 month at this point with Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. Casey wrote one more email. I wrote the first one. We also found out her original teacher just got let go like a couple weeks ago. So we got a new one who's way better.
Why?
Lots of things.
That's interesting.
Yeah. She sucked, basically.
Oh, okay.
And she was lying to us. She said that she had gotten a toilet seat and that Noble just wouldn't do it with her. And I'm like, and then I come to find out from the new teacher, she's like, yeah, I think there was some miscommunication. She's like, we never had a toilet seat here. And I'm like, oh, so she was just lying to us. Like, cool. Anyway, whatever. Noble's happy there. Drop-offs are easier. It's fine if we got a couple more months, but still, Papa Bear's not happy about it. I don't like it when my babies are not taken care of properly.
Hearing that your child's teacher got let go is so like what? You got fired? Why did you get fired, lady?
Well, the gist of it was that she watched 9 Kids on her own, and there'd be floaters that come around and pop in every so often. And apparently they saw on camera that pretty much when a floater would come by, the teacher would stop like doing everything. She would like make the floater do everything. Like wouldn't even pay attention. It was just like, all right, you do it all. So
like both the floater teacher?
Yeah.
Oh, she'd just take a break.
Yeah, she'd basically just like check out.
Oh.
But there were other things. It was interesting because I know this is like very personal on the podcast, but whatever. There were parents, we have like the family app that everybody talks. It was probably like 70% like, oh, we liked blah, 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 this and that. And then there were about a few of us that were like, we always felt a little off. Like, I didn't like it. So whatever. I feel much better about the new teacher. She's good. Okay. She's young. She's energetic. She's happy. Her energy is good.
Cool.
Noble's happy when I drop her off now. Like,
it's fine.
Yeah. This is dad life with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
It matters.
It matters. There's Halloween last night.
Yeah. What were they?
The kids were only able to agree on an underwater aquatic theme because Bunny wanted to be a shark and baby girl wanted to be mermaid.
Okay.
So we couldn't do like a full-on Little Mermaid theme, and we couldn't do a full shark theme. So we just kept with underwater. And then Bunny wanted me to be a shark, so I was a shark, and then Mom was a mermaid with daughter. This is what it's like now.
Well, what's wrong with that? One
nothing.
was a shark, one was a mermaid.
I know. But just like the whole
sounds like you
Halloween,
were hoping it was a theme.
Well, Casey, I think, was hoping it was a little more of a theme. I will say I was a little more disappointed with my costume this year as opposed to last year. I didn't get as many compliments from people, you know. I would have thought there would have been a little more elaborate adult shark costumes, but there really wasn't.
That's so funny.
And so, yeah, I just was basically a shark. It looked like a shark was eating me.
Yeah. What were you last year?
Well, we were the Up theme movie. So Bunny was the house with a bunch of balloons on him, and then I was the old man. And let me tell you,
that's a good.
And then Casey was the big bird thing.
Okay.
Or baby girl was the big bird thing, or maybe they both were. A lot of compliments last year.
Yeah, I bet. So I saw this TikTok where this dad was explaining to his, like, I don't know, maybe 2-year-old what Halloween is. Like, you go to a house and they're going to give you candy. And the baby was like, what? And then he was like, and then you go to the next house and they're going to give you candy. And the baby was just like, what are you telling me? When did you have that moment with your kids where you?
Well, you just see it like click where we didn't really tell them like, oh, you're going around to get candy.
Like, when do they learn what trick-or-treating is? Like,
oh, baby girl figured it out real fast today. She's like basically right around 2. So she just saw it. And then, you know, she's a little timid in the beginning, like walking through the houses. Shit, by the end of it, she's zigzagging on the street, going house to house, grabbing all the candy, putting it in the bag. Like,
so just observing, oh, I get to go and grab candy today.
I mean, how do they learn everything? Observing.
That's so funny.
Yeah, she was on it at the end.
Yeah, as an adult, I don't care about Halloween, but with kids, it's got to be so fun.
It's so awesome.
It's probably the most fun holiday.
So fun. It is.
And Christmas is probably really fun too.
Christmas is really fun. I mean, honestly, all the holidays are fun. Yeah. I had some little T trauma from holidays growing up. Like, they weren't really like super celebrated. And then sometimes we go to my grandparents, and like my dad didn't have a great relationship with his dad. And so it was just like weird. And, you know, it didn't feel festive all the time. You know, it felt more like going through the motions a little bit. Yeah. So
are you guys trying to do tradition?
Yeah, especially with Casey, because Casey's grew up, well, prior to when they did celebrate Christmas. When Casey's mom got remarried, then whatever old religion they followed, Old Testament, they basically stopped celebrating all of the holidays. So Casey has trauma from that. Like, just all of a sudden getting Christmas ripped away one year. So we very much, she's likes to go big, and I'm learning to get bigger now because of the kids.
Yeah.
Like Halloween last year, I was like, oh, I bought the big Jack Skellington thing out front. Like, I'm starting to get collect all the outdoor decorations.
Yeah. Are you going to do lights?
Oh yeah, we do Christmas lights. I'm like trying to get the guy to come this weekend because I'm like, I need 2 months worth of those lights now.
I love it.
Yeah. No, I love it. I like to. I think I had to get over some of my shit surrounding holidays, and then it has made it.
Like what? Like, they don't matter. They're not that important.
Yeah, I just sort of had that subconsciously in me still. Not that it wasn't like. Yes, I feel like they're way more important, but kind of just like letting go of those patterns of like, oh, do we really need that many lights or that many decorations? It's like, no, let's just fucking make it big.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Just go big. If we're going to do it, like, let's just do it right.
And the kids enjoy it.
And now you can tell there's sort of this like friendly competition amongst all of our neighbors of like, who's going to have the best decorations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I am, bitch. 100%.
Yeah.
That's funny. Mm-hmm. Friendly?
Oh yeah, it's super friendly. Yeah. Nobody will ever say it's a competition, but like, there's this guy down the street. He's been collecting stuff for 15 years, and he clearly was the winner of Halloween. I mean, he had a cemetery out front.
Yeah.
He had hologram skeletons in the window trying to climb out and dance. He had thunder and lightning on his roof.
He can have that.
And like talking pumpkins and yeah, it was, and they have the permanent lights. So the whole house was like red during Halloween month, during October.
Yeah.
He was legit. He was legit.
He can have that.
Yeah.
I'm not Halloween, whatever, but Christmas lights, very awesome.
Yeah. And there's talk of like, oh, should we get the permanent lights? But I'm like, they don't have the same feel as Christmas lights.
What do you mean permanent light?
You know, you can get the under like your awning, they're permanent. So you just have them throughout you can change whatever color you want. Like, you know, a lot of people do that now to not have to put up Christmas lights every year. But I'm like, it's not the same as the bulb for Christmas. Like I need the bulb pointing up like perfectly. Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, that was my holiday kid rant.
Yeah. Everybody's going through it.
Yeah.
Cool. What else is on the horizon?
Honestly, I'm ready for this Sedona trip. I think it's so important. I've hit my breaking point. I can feel it. I can feel the pressure of just like needing to step away. And I haven't done it. Casey called me out. She's like, you do this all the time. You push yourself to the brink and you don't take care of yourself. Like you don't get what you need. She's like, massages aren't going to cut it. She's like, you need to check out. And I say it too. I'm like, yeah, I need to, but also like, I'm sure you know the feeling. It's like you're trying to build something. You don't want to step away all the time. I also have 2 kids, and not using that as an excuse, but there's a lot going on that for me to just like step away, say even for a day, I'm like, ooh.
But she's encouraging it.
Yeah, I mean, I had been talking about it for a while, and I wouldn't say she was like super encouraging it. But then when we went to Park City, I know I was being a dick at times, and I couldn't like stop. That's when I knew. I was like, oh, I'm like in a funk that I even know I'm doing it and I still can't stop myself.
Mm-hmm.
That something needs to change. I was like, Casey, when we got back from that trip, she's like, book a trip now. Get the fuck out of here. Stop being a dick. So she's also putting me through this long healing series, this King Solomon healing series that I don't know what's going on, but it definitely fluctuates my energy a lot.
How long is it?
Oh my God. I've been doing one every week or every other week for like 6-8 weeks now. And I think there's like 3 or 4 more to go. I just want to be done with it.
How long is each?
About an hour. And I never feel great after it. Like I know it's flush because I think what the biggest thing that it's doing is it's bringing all these emotional attachments to the surface that are releasing. And so just imagine any subconscious emotional attachment you might still have to something that is coming to the surface that I don't even know what it is sometimes. Like certain things kind of come up in the session that I can kind of pinpoint, but other times it's just more a visceral feeling in my body of like, oh, this doesn't feel good. I mentally feel like almost like depressed at the end of it. And so all this is letting go of that.
Is the goal to eventually become conscious of whatever's being let go?
Not necessarily. No. Because no matter what, there's always going to be things within us that we are subconsciously unaware of, or emotional attachments that we have to something that we just don't know. And I don't necessarily even need to know them. I just want that energy out. I just want to be done. I'm over it. So, and days like today, I felt better. So I can feel like a shift happening. So it's good. And then it allows for a lot more of my energy to focus back on the things that it needs to be on. You know,
I've always thought that to change your subconscious, you need to bring it up to the conscious and then let it go.
I believe that's true. Yes. But I think there's ways to release things from your subconscious that you don't necessarily need to know that will then free up that energy. That will then get it out of your system so it's not running that program in the background. I don't believe you have to know. I don't believe you have to consciously become aware of everything that you want to release. That's just my belief. Yeah. Like, I don't know all the files I'm deleting from my laptop when I'm cleaning it out. I only know some of them. But anyway, Sedona, yeah, I'm ready to. This will be my kind of first relaxing getaway solo as a dad. So
what do you know that you need to do for yourself?
I really want to check out phone wise. I think I just need to put it away for the weekend. I almost don't even want to take my camera, but I'm also like, God, Sedona's so beautiful. I'm gonna journal for the first time, probably. Not the first time. I've kind of had weird periodic moments of doing it where I was like trying to force myself. But I've been contemplating it, that I probably need to start writing some stuff down, partially inspired by you. So I'd like to journal. I'd like to read and just be still. And I know it's going to feel really fucking weird that first day to like force myself to be still.
Yeah, just disconnect from all the inputs.
Yeah.
That usually does the trick.
Because I can sit here and make the argument like, oh, well, this is my life. I have to be on my phone or creating content or on my laptop, which is true. But I can also be away from it for 3 or 4 days and reconnect with myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really helpful to have a partner that supports that.
Yeah.
It's very hard if you don't.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a relationship and they're just...
I think this is the time that it was meant to happen to. I don't think I would have felt comfortable, say, like a year ago, leaving Casey in charge of the kids. Not because she can't handle it, but just because
it's a lot to ask.
It was a lot to ask back then.
Yeah.
Also, now my mind wants to tell me I'm a little more financially stable to be like, hey, you can treat yourself to this trip. I think I needed to also get to a point with that in the studio and the product and everything to feel like,
yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of like advice on the internet, like, oh, you need to take care of yourself. This is all true. And somebody may hear all this, but without the context of like, it depends on what season you're in. Sometimes you do have to gut it out. And sometimes you need to be able to see like, I don't actually need to gut it out right now. Like I have the opportunity and the context to be able to take 3 days off.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah. I also saw it. It was the self-awareness of being on that Park City trip and recognizing like there's things happening emotionally right now that shouldn't be. And what does that mean? I think there was also this part of me that almost felt like guilt and shame of finally telling Casey, I'm like, I need like 3 or 4 days away from the family. Like I need to go be by myself.
Yeah.
And maybe it took that trip. Maybe it took me being a little emotional, or I don't know why there's a part of me that sometimes doesn't trust that Casey will receive that very well, but I think I'm just projecting my own shit onto her. Well, I know I am. Of like, oh, she's gonna not want me to leave, or she's not gonna think that's cool, or who knows what, all the things. Instead of just being like, this is what I need for me.
Yeah. I mean, to say I need a break from my family is somebody could respond pretty fucking like, what the fuck do you mean? You need a break from us? Like, what's wrong with us? But you know, Casey does work every day all the time. So I imagine though, still, even for the most evolved person, it could still be on the wrong day.
Yeah, who knows?
In a tired moment could be received in a...
I think we've both very much, because Casey's even said it, that she's very much in her feminine right now. She's just like wanting to take care of the kids, wanting to be at home, wanting to create, wanting to flow, not wanting to be at work. And whereas I'm very much in my masculine of like, I want to fucking grind this out, make money, provide, work. I can't be around the kids a lot right now because I do have to work more, or want to work more, and want to get this like new level, this new new foundation built. So, but then it caused me to hit my breaking point.
Yeah. We were talking about this recently that, I don't know, it was there was some post just about like the division of labor at home. Like, a man should, like, if you calculate all the work that a homemaker does, what does that equal and whatever. And my response was just like, it depends on the relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Like, if the man is 100% responsible for financial contribution, then in my opinion, I would expect or communicate that my wife is taking care of the home. That's the division of labor. I bring in the money, you take care of the home. But if the man is not 100% responsible for the financial contribution, then you do split the time at home, because wife is also, or other partner is also contributing. But all of that's just my opinion. In marriage, it's just constant communication.
100%.
That's what it is.
Especially when it's, you can have it that way where it's a little more cut and dry of like, oh, 100% or not 100%. And then you have mine and Casey's where it's like, we're fluctuating all of the time because we're both entrepreneurs and we both have like a freedom of schedule to be with the kids when we need to be. Like Wednesday, our nanny did end up coming in, but there was a moment where I was like, well, I'm going to have to just figure out what to do on Wednesday with the kids. But I have that freedom. Luckily that day would have been like, okay, if I needed to bring them with me, that it landed on that day. But where it gets really tricky, say in our relationship, is what about I'm the one who's, we have about, we like to say a 70-30 split. I'm about 70% in charge of like our normal life expenses. But then I'm also needing to put in a lot of hours of work to build this next thing as an entrepreneur. So it's like, I'm not necessarily 100% responsible for the work or for the finances, but I'm 100% responsible for building this next thing to get us to that next level. And so then what does that mean as far as my energy and percentage that maybe I am putting in at the home, even though it's not 100% finances, but it's a lot of energy that's going into it right now as an entrepreneur.
Sure.
Like I think about like people are trying to build a business, like the CEOs or the startups, it's like they're putting in, like, what's your CEO put in at the beginning,
all
day. I don't have that luxury of putting in all day because A, I have kids, B, running the studio, C, do have some consulting that I'm still doing, still have a little editing that I'm doing. So then where do I come up short? And that is usually when I'm with the kids at night at 7:00 and I'm already exhausted, but I need to be a good dad still at that time. So that's where it gets like tricky. And that's why I'm quite certain I hit that breaking point of like, let me just get 3-4 days away and then I should be recharged.